I'm trying to manage the side effects of the medicine and the actual effects of my illness, and I'm trying to balance what makes me feel the best. And last week, obviously, I skipped a podcast. I was feeling quite bad. I was hallucinating all last week. Yeah. The whole week, I'd been hallucinating. I remember which I've never done before. The first time it happened, I was in the kitchen and I was making eggs, and it was like 2 p.m. That's my breakfast. I'd just woken up. I'm very ill. And I'm making eggs, and then I just hear Louis, and Jazz calls me that a little bit, and I go, yeah, and no response. I'm like, oh, because sometimes that happens if you're on the other ends of the house. One person goes, hey, and you go, yeah, but they don't hear the yeah, so they just start going, hey. And then you go, I'll walk over to them. So then I go, whatever. She'll come over here. She knows I'm in the kitchen. And then I'm making my eggs, and I hear Louis, and I go, yep, nothing. I don't hear anything. I'm like, bitch, fucking come over here. You know I'm in the kitchen. I'm not going down there. I'm cooking. I don't want to burn down the house. And then 5 more minutes go by, and I hear Louis, and I go, what? Come here. Anyway, she's not in the house. She's not there. She left. She went out, and she told me that she went out. I just assumed that she'd come home, and I'm fucking all pissed off at her. What? I'm in the kitchen. What do you want? And then I was like, oh my God, that's fucking, I was like, oh man, she's not here. Weird. And then I texted her. I was like, baby, you home? I thought, well, maybe she's outside. She goes, no, I'm at Bunnings. Why? I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. And I'm like, fuck. And then 2 days go by, nothing. And then I'm in the kitchen again, like on a Wednesday, and I was making toast. It's 2 p.m. It's breakfast. I'm very ill, and minding my own business, and I hear Louis. I go, yeah, and again nothing, and I go, God. Oh no, what is happening? And now I'm like, okay, well, last time I was thinking, I just put it away. I was like, I imagined it, which is a synonym for hallucinated it. I'm imagining something is a conscious decision. Like, oh, imagine how it would be cool to be able to fly. Jumping out of a fucking window going, I can fly. That's hallucinating. They're actually not very similar at all. They're both happening in the mind, but one's a conscious decision to play in a fantasy world. The other is like a belief that is true until you hit the pavement and break your legs. So I'm making toast. I hear Louis, and now I'm scared. I'm like, well, I can't be hallucinating because hallucinating is what crazy people do, and I'm not crazy. So obviously it's a ghost. Clearly my house is haunted, okay? Everyone knows this. And I hear Louis, and I go, now I'm scared. I'm like, what's going on? And then I'm like literally in the kitchen like this, holding my head going, I'm fucking losing it. This is not real. And then I hear it again, Louis. I'm like, oh no, I'm insane. And then I was just like, I'm going to leave. I don't know what to do. And so I just left the fucking room, and I go check on my girl. And I'm like, were you calling me? She goes, no. And I'm like, okay. And then I went and I played video games for like 8 hours straight, and I put it away. I was like, I'm gonna play Fallout New Vegas, a game that came out in 2008, which is maybe more insane than hearing a ghost calling your name and going, I'm not crazy. The house is just haunted. And then just staying in the house, because if let's say the house was haunted, pretty nuts of me to stay there. The next day, right, it's now nighttime, okay? So it's like 9 p.m. It's dark, and I'm making myself dinner, and I just hear Louis, and I get this fucking huge surge of adrenaline because now I know I've completely fucking lost my mind. I've gone insane. I'm now actually hallucinating. I go, yeah. Nothing for ages. And then I hear Louis, and I go, what? And Jazz is like, what's wrong? I'm like, are you calling my name? And she goes, no. I'm like, are you fucking with me? She goes, no. I'm like, all right. And then she goes, because now I'm like, oh, she's fucking with me for sure. And then she goes off into another room and I know where she is now in the house. And then 10 minutes later go by, I've almost finished making my dinner and I see Louie and it's not coming from her. I'm like, oh my God, I fucking lost it. I start looking around everywhere. I'm freaking out. I'm like, I'm on way too much of this medicine. Yeah. I'm losing my mind. And I look out the window and the neighbor is babysitting their grandson who's called Louie. And I've been hearing all week this woman go, Louie. I'm going, what? And it's this other fucking kid. I thought I was hallucinating the whole time.
Oh my God.
It's just the fucking neighbor's kid's called Louie. And I did it again this morning where she goes, Louie. And I go, yeah. And then she looked at me through the fucking window because I go, yeah. And then she looked in the kitchen window and then I remembered, oh, it must be the woman. So I looked out the window. We just made this awkward eye contact. She doesn't know my name. So I can only assume that for all last week, she's going, Louie, and then she's hearing me go, what? What do you want from me? Get out of my head. I'm going to play Fallout. Bro, I was like, oh my God, I fucking you know how fucking scared I was? Making eggs that first time when I realized Jazz was not in the house. I was like, did I just hear my name? Louie! What? So, I've lowered the medicine a little bit just in case. You know, chances are I'll fucking look out the window and the neighbors never lived there, you know? Like, that's what I'm hallucinating, the actual neighbor and the child. Fuck, I don't think I've ever been that scared in my life. From when it was like 9 p.m. and for the third time that week, I heard a woman calling my name in the house. I was like, oh, it's best case scenario, I'm schizophrenic. Worst case, the house is haunted. We're going to die tonight.